And here we are, Oakshade Raceway. Surprised we're getting this one in tonight because it did rain quite a bit overnight and rained pretty much all morning, but it sounds like the Summer Nationals is pretty dedicated, Oakshade's pretty dedicated, and so we're gonna get this one in tonight. They've been out there working the track now for a couple hours and we're all unloaded, ready to rock. Joel Morton showed up tonight. Looks like Devin Shields, even old Ryan Missler decided to come play with us again. So looks like a pretty good field of late models as expected. Birthday race night, 10K to win. Usually turn out a pretty good amount of cars. Supporting the local business, Black Swamp Boots, Wasion, Ohio. They're not a sponsor, they're just a local business and I happen to like them. So if you're ever in Wasion, Ohio and you need some nice jeans or Western shirts or boots, check them out. Other than that, got mom and dad up there set up selling t-shirts. Signed a few autographs for some kids, which is always cool. And looking forward to a good night of racing. Hopefully this thing stays smooth at least, or at least drivable. Probably going to be pretty fast. So we'll see what happens. One thing that's kind of neat about the birthday race is the amount of t-shirt vendors and stuff like that. And so we got our own set up over here. Come and talk to the people running this show. What's going on?
Just selling shirts. You know.
Have we sold any?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got any good marketing ideas?
No. Well, maybe some.
I don't know, but I feel like we're gonna need to get a marketing team on this.
As soon as you start winning, I think that might help.
Huh. Funny how it always boils back down to the driver. Fair enough, fair enough. Here, they run the modifieds during this race too, so that's kind of cool. You don't get to see those guys here very often. Late model set up here. We got competing YouTuber Ryan Missler there. There he is, waving at us. He's probably like, damn, that's gonna take views away from me.
Thank you. See you guys. Good luck. Yeah.
One of these days we're gonna have a rig like that. Just a nice little tiny rig like that. One of these days. It's definitely a little less muddy than last year. Last year they tore the track up right before this race. Actually tore it up really good, and then ran it back in and regraded it and stuff. And then unfortunately we got a ton of rain the night before the race. And with the track being that loose, you weren't ever going to get it to pack in. And so you've seen the result of that last year. But this year they had the track pretty well packed in, just fluffed up on the top. And so that helps the rain to kind of run off of it a little bit. So you get a good amount of moisture, but not, big chunks and stuff. So hopefully this thing will be a lot smoother this year than it was last year. Because we're not racing on it if it's like it was last year. We don't need to break anything more this year, but it's looking pretty decent. They've been out here working on it for the last 4 hours or so, just getting it run in, and it's not looking too bad. So hopefully it stays smooth and we get some really good racing out of this thing tonight. All right, well, we just got done with qualifying. We hot lap first and then we qualified after that. So the track is less than desirable. That's one way to put it. It's really rough. I mean, they got a lot of rain. It's kind of to be expected. Hopefully after all the hot laps are done here, they're supposed to go out there and do a little bit of work to it, which will help. I mean, it's not as bad as last year, but it's not far off. So we were rolling really good on our second lap in qualifying and just unfortunately hit a rut and the car got tied up off of 4 and that kind of screwed that lap up. Sucks. We ended up losing our first lap and that qualified as 16th. So we got our work cut out for us tonight, but I think we got a pretty good car. We're definitely making it better, and if we get this track a little bit smoother, we might be all right. So just gonna keep on going and see where we end up here. got any thoughts there, bud?
Some mud.
Yeah, a lot of mud. A lot of mud. I mean, you can see it's got the door all wrinkled up from freaking hitting the track. Oh yeah, you can see the cross member there is pretty packed up. That was when it got tight. It dumped some dirt. Sure did. So, what do you do? What do you do? So it goes. But like I said, we were gonna cut a pretty good second lap, but it just didn't work out. You got any thoughts there?
Pretty good track so far.
It's not. You're lying.
You caught me. I think it'll be good next week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's Chris Keller, the 2000.
It's so long ago, it doesn't even matter anymore.
He won this race once, and it was the complete opposite track that we have tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think about this stuff, bud?
I think I'm glad that my car's at home. Pretty much where I'm at.
I almost kind of thought my car should maybe be at home too. But we're here, so it's dirty now. We're gonna run it. Hopefully we don't break nothing. I don't know.
Turn works, baby.
Matthew's been living the full birthday race experience. That's yours.
Yep.
He's yours.
He's mine.
Unbelievable. The man, the myth, the legend, Jamie Leathers, JLB Home Services.
That's right.
Finally made it out. Jamie and I have been buddies since, like, I don't know, long ass time. So it's pretty cool. This is a cool race because a lot of your friends come out. People that don't get to come out to the races very often come out. And I mean, hopefully we have a little bit of fun tonight, but we'll see. Anyhow, we're gonna try this heat race thing.
Here we go, Dusty Moore, Bob Gardner again. Slow, deliberate pace into turn 3 and 4. We are ready to turn them back loose. You get the jump on this one as they will fire together this time.
I'll show you the dam. Watch out. Just drive through people around here. That's Steve Kester for you, though. Anyhow, it was probably the most tear-offs I think I've ever pulled in one race. It's muddy and fast and rough and shitty, and you know, so we'll probably be in a B or a C main, try to make the best of it, See if we can't try to put this thing in a show.
And come to green here again, BJ Gregory.
All right, this is the C main.
Miller will lead
Trying to
up
make
green
it to
here
the
as we
B
are ready to
main.
go off turn 4.
Come on, bitch. Ready to lead the upcoming dirt car double file restart back down to green flag this time by 7 to go. Come on, bitch. Nice job.
Well, a little bit better luck that time. We had to go to a C main. There's 48 cars here, so they had a C main. We started on the front of that thing and won it. Now we got to go to the B main, start at the back of that, and try to get up into the top 2, get into this show. Long way to go. Car's pretty fast. Track's still pretty rough. So we'll see what happens. Long way to go. We're gonna need some luck on our side for this one. Any thoughts, bud?
Hey man, we're just here to drive fast.
You heard it. Just here to drive fast.
Careful out there.
cut out for us on a hammer down track. You know, we got a caution about halfway through, watching people be idiots. And I thought, well, maybe I should pull this thing off. I don't know, I was sitting probably 6th or 7th or something like that, and I thought, well, a couple of these idiots take themselves out, we might be able to make this show. I should have pulled off. We restarted coming out of 4, we got a good restart, and then all hell broke loose in front of me and nowhere to go. Almost rolled a car over again. The guy that I got pushed into did get rolled over, kind of on top of me, in front of me. So it was pretty radical, pretty gnarly. Car's pretty tore up. Yeah, pretty tore up, but it did drive off the track, so I don't really know what's hurt yet. Definitely a lot of body damage. We'll have to get it home and just assess, see where it's at. Luckily we didn't get it airborne again, but you can see how much mud's on this thing. I mean, you know, you're racing on shit like that and you're that deep in the back, it's hard to make anything positive happen. So we'll load it in the trailer. At least we don't got a 5-hour drive home. It's only 5 minutes. Try again, I guess. Hey man, what's your thoughts, bro?
Hey man, at least you're in one piece.
JLB's in one piece. It's all good. Thoughts?
You're in one piece, car's not.
Yeah. That's better than the last time. I was in a couple pieces last time. I don't know. So it goes, I suppose. Hey bud, any thoughts? I mean, at least we were kind of fast.
Yeah, it just sucks when you're trying to find speed in the slick and then you get this kind of track. I mean, kudos to Oakshade for racing and A for effort. You know, they got out there after qualifying and it was rough and they drug it. The track's shaping up pretty decent, but you know, when you get on a hammer down track like that, you're just start backing up. You know, the car's so tight, you're setting up for a normal night and start backing up. Honestly, I looked over the car and it doesn't look like a lot of mechanical stuff there. It looks like it's all pretty much body.
I'll second that, you know. So it goes, man. That's the problem with these rough hammer down tracks is anybody that's an idiot normally, it's like amplified 10 times. So what are you gonna do, man? We'll get off here, stop bitching, move on.
Well, we didn't know it at that time and moment, but we were all getting loaded up. Everything was getting cleaned up. BJ was in the middle of getting undressed, and Summer Nationals official came over and told us that we had acquired a provisional somehow, some way, shape, or form. So we were in the show if we could get the car ready to run to be in the show. So we mad dash, scrambled around. Big shout out to Chris Keller and Matthew and Jamie and everybody that was there that pitched in. There was probably 7 or 8 of us on the car, taking things off, you know, putting things back together, throwing some rivets and random stuff just to hold on for a handful of laps so we could start the show. So that'll lead into the rest of the video.
way, we got a spot in the feature. So I'm basically out of my driver's suit, and we're getting ready to load a car up, and the official comes around and starts yelling, "Hey, you're in a feature." So we like scrambled around, thanks to Matthew and everybody that helped. We scrambled around, jerked the fender flare off the right front, taped the filler panel down to the hood, half-assed fixed the fender, taped some shit up, and then it didn't work out so well because that didn't hold up. But we went out there and turned a handful of laps and made start money. So that's a good thing because this thing needs about a whole new body. So anyhow, we made our first birthday race. Not exactly the fashion I wanted to do it in, but we made our first birthday race. So we'll lick our wound, go back home, tear this thing apart, lick our wounds, and probably needs a new body now. So it's dirty, it's muddy. I mean, you guys can see. I'll show you if I can. You can see the mud just caked on it. I mean, shit, after the heat race, I couldn't even flip my visor up on my helmet. So another year like last, but hey, we made it in this year. All in all, it is what it is. What's your thoughts, bud?
That was a turn of events. Trying to take a junk, or I wouldn't say junk, hurt race car and get it raceable in about, I don't know what we have,
About 3 minutes, yeah.
3-5 minutes. It's a mad dash. I don't know how we didn't lose tools because there was like 7 people working on it, beating on it, taking bolts out, putting bolts in. I got a pocket full of body bolts, but whatever, we started it, got start money, and probably gonna have to reskin it this week.
It's funny because when we rolled out there, the guy on the race receiver, the race controller goes, "All right, gentlemen, it's 50 laps. You're not going to win it on the first one." My first thought was, shit, we never even put any fuel in this thing. We ain't going to make it 50 laps on fuel. So that is what it is, man. It's one decent amount of good luck and all the bad luck. So we'll take it and move on. Well, we figured we'd do Sunday morning recap because last night was so eventful. And sometimes you can't see all the damage at night that you can see during the day. So we'll do a walk around of the car first. I don't think there's many things that haven't been touched in some way. Nose is pretty well junk. Fender flare is laying over there. It's absolutely junk. You can drive off the track on it. That's usually about how it looks. Right upper fenders, junk. Right side door, it could be salvaged, but it's not good. Right side quarter panel, it's seen its better days, but it's been seeing its better days. Rear T-bar is pretty well hurt. Spoiler's actually pretty well hurt too. This is like marks on top of it from another car. I'm not really sure how that happens, but apparently somebody had their car up on top of that part of my car. You can see it's got the T-bar pretty well scrapped out. Rear brace is kind of hurt there. Left rear quarter panel. Quarter panel report, not good. Not good. Actually wrinkled the left sail panel, which is pretty rare. You gotta really like bend some shit up to make that wrinkle. Left side door, it's been seeing its better days, and I think it's seen its best day at this point. Left upper fender, after the whole Kester incident, that thing don't look bad for what it was. Left side fender flare, pretty hurt. So yeah. Oh, I gotta show you guys this because this is kind of interesting. So you can see like the mud on the cockpit, just the sheer amount of mud and dirt, and a lot of it's falling off too. It's hard to see down in there, but you might be able to see some of the reflections. There's probably about 20 tear-offs sitting down in the cockpit there, just from, it was like a tear-off every straightaway. You basically get through a corner, pull a tear-off, get to the next corner, make it through it, pull a tear-off. It was muddy. I gotta say, I don't know how you pronounce their name. Scat, something like that. Their quarter panels and filler panel have done wonderful for us this year. They've taken some serious abuse, and in most circumstances they would be junk after, you know, the first 3 times abusing them. We've abused them 7 or 8 times, and they're still usable, really. But other than that, it was just a night, just an absolute night. You know, we set up to go there because Oakshade is 9 times out of 10, probably 9.5 times out of 10, just dry, slick, and really hard to get a hold of. And so we had basically planned around that. Well, then it rains, and we don't have a whole hell of a lot of experience with this new chassis yet as far as what do you do when you go from a dry, slick track setup to hammer down rough. It's just not something that we encounter all that often. So we needed to be about where we were in the feature, if not a little bit more, in qualifying. So we did learn some things. You know, if we ever see a track like that again, you know, it goes from, we're kind of set up for dry, slick, it goes rough, hammer down, fast. We kind of know what we got to do now, at least a decent idea of what we got to do now, where to get to, because I mean, honestly, by the end of the night, the car was actually pretty good, you know, considering the track conditions. I feel like if we would have been there in qualifying, we probably could have qualified decent. But that's part of all this here is we qualified shitty, which put us back in the back of the heat, and you know, you get back there, and I would say around squirrels, but you know, the guys that we were around, the guys that caused some of the damage were you know, veteran racers, championship guys, as a matter of fact. So that's just how some people race. They don't, you still don't know to this day how they get to where they got to, you know. But anyhow, that put us in the C main, which then we won that, and that put us in the B main, and that was where it all went sideways. Right before the wreck, I had thought, coming down the backstretch, we were under caution, I thought I should probably pull off, save this thing while I can. Then I thought, well, I'm sitting in like 6th or 8th here. A couple of these guys take themselves out in front of me because they had been racing pretty hard all race. You know, we might be able to stand a chance to get in this thing. And well, that was about one corner before all chaos broke loose. Should have just pulled off, honestly. And then big wreck on the front stretch there. You'll see that in the tape, or you've seen that in the tape already at this point. And then we get back in the pits, and you know, we're kind of licking our wounds. I'm already getting undressed out of my fire suit and everything, and somehow we got a provisional into the show. So the dirt car official comes around. He's like, "Hey, you guys are in the show. Can you make it?" And we're like, "Sure." I mean, we drove it off the track, so it was like a 7 or 8, 9 people effort to jump in and help out. And I mean, you can see the only thing holding this upper fender on right now is just the door bolts. The hood is actually taped down. We taped the filler to the hood just to hold things down, and just, I mean, that's what happened to the back T-bar. A lot of it was we just threw a rivet or 2 in there just to get it by, and it obviously didn't hold up, so it's a little bit flappy now. But that got us out there. We turned a couple laps and pulled it in, got start money, which is pretty good to start one of those shows. And so here we are now. We got a whole mess of a race car to clean and de-body and start the new body process, and probably take a week or 2 off here and kind of regroup a little bit and get a body put back on this thing. And we got a couple little issues to figure out with the truck, and we got a charging problem on that, so we'll see. It's unfortunate because we've been trying to figure out how to get this thing good on the dry slick. That's what we've been working on all year, and then you catch a track like that and you learn nothing about dry slick on a track like that. So you'll have those once or twice a year. But any thoughts there, bud?
You know what a track like that does teach you, though? It's called rod checking. You check your rod bolts real good. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said last night, hats off to Oakshade for trying to race, and you know, they did what they needed to do to give you the best surface you could get last night. You know, Oakshade gets a lot of criticism, but I'll say last night they put in the effort. You know, I just wish they would do that more often, I guess. Other than that, you see it. Put a whole new body on it, back up all the things we did last night, tear the right front that just got back from AccuForce back off the car and sent it back down to AccuForce for the same thing it was down there for last time, and try it again here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, like Brandon said, big hats off to Oakshade. I mean, they do catch a lot of criticism, and oftentimes we're pretty critical of them ourselves, being that that's our home track. But they did put in some really good effort last night. And a big thanks to Mike Anderzak from APC Construction. He brought one of his personal graders out and started working on the track too. And that's nice to have some people around the area that are willing to jump in and try to make something happen. It was a cool feature to watch. We watched about 3/4 of it, well, maybe 90% of it, from the pit side, and it was fun to watch some guys drive like that. But I'm almost glad my car wasn't one of them cars, because I would guarantee that in the next couple weeks there's going to be some broken parts or some hurt motors, the way they were having to drive through that rough stuff. So it's unfortunate, but like Brandon said, we'll just get this thing rebodied up and fix some suspension stuff. And I mean, this has pretty much been our year. You know, we race, we finish a couple races, and then we race again, and we junk a bunch of stuff, and then we put it back together, we try it again. And so eventually one of these weeks it's going to pay off, and we'll try to find ourselves, I don't know, in a top 5 finish without anything tore up. I mean, right now that's the goal. The hell with victory lane. I just want to finish like up front in a feature and not wreck anything. That would be great. If we could do that for like a month, I'd be pretty happy. So anyhow, we'll talk at you soon.